Hey friends, this is Angela from Art of Creation Homestead. You're in the kitchen with me again, and we are continuing with showing you things to do with all those eggs that you get if you have chickens. And today I'm doing one that takes a lot of eggs and is super delicious. Today I am going to teach you how to make a chiffon cake. Now, if you've never had or never heard of a chiffon cake, it's kind of like a cross between, let's say if a yellow cake and an angel food cake got married and had a baby, that would be the baby. Because it's light and fluffy and spongy like an angel food cake, but it's got the richness of a yellow cake. So it's kind of like a cross between the two. Yes, it is amazing. So we're gonna get started here. First things first, you need to preheat your oven to 325 degrees. Bakes at a low temperature. You want it to bake there. Do not be tempted to turn the oven up to get it done faster. It does have to bake for a while, and it does have to bake low. Low and slow is the best way with this. Next thing you need, as far as special equipment, this is probably the only truly special equipment you'll need. And I will leave a link to both of these things in the description below. Please ignore the sound of my washing machine. As I've told you before, this is not a filming set. This is a real working homestead. The special equipment you will need is either a 10-inch tube pan or a 10-inch angel food cake pan. This one is an angel food cake pan. You can tell the difference if it's an angel food cake pan or a tube pan. This is an angel food cake pan. You know, because it has a removable tube. If it's a tube pan that it does not remove, you can use either. I will tell you, if you use an angel food cake pan, like I'm doing, just to be on the safe side, this almost never happens, but just to be on the safe side, you will want to set this, when you bake it, you will want to set it on a cookie sheet that is lined with parchment or foil, just in case any leaks out the bottom, because see the bottom has that crack, just in case any leaks out the bottom, that way it doesn't mess up your oven. It's just a precaution. Although I've never really seen it happen, it's just a precaution. If you like to live dangerously, go ahead and don't do that step. So, first things first, you need 7 eggs. And you need to have them at room temperature, so set them out about a half an hour to an hour before you're going to make your cake, because they really beat up much better and much quicker if they are at room temperature. But you can risk it and just go cold. It'll just take longer to whip up. And I have separated them. I have my yolks right here. See those beautiful, beautiful yolks from our backyard chickens. And we have our 7 whites right here. We have our 7 egg whites right here. And you see those little clumps in there? For those of you who may not know what that is called a calazi. It is the string that attaches the yolk to the egg shell so that it suspends that yolk in the middle of the egg. Now, if you're using store-bought eggs, the calazi is not very prominent because it evaporates over time, and those eggs are old enough that a lot of the calazi is evaporated. But that calazi, you want to make sure you get it in your egg whites, because that is pure protein and it will help the egg whites beat up much faster and much stiffer. To these 7 egg whites, we are going to add a little ingredient. This is kind of a special ingredient, but if you make angel food cake or meringues or anything like that, then you know about this ingredient and you probably have it on hand. The ingredient is cream of tartar. It helps keep your egg whites stable and stiff. It helps keep them nice and stiff and stable. So you want to add a half a teaspoon of cream of tartar to your 7 egg whites. And you want to beat them just until they start to get foamy. See, now you're starting to get nice and foamy. I'm just using an immersion blender with a whisk attachment on it. You can use a hand mixer, you can use a stand mixer, whatever you want. But see, it's nice and foamy now. So now we are going to add a half a cup of granulated sugar. We are going to add it slowly while we whisk. while we beat until it's all in. Now it's all in, and you want to continue to beat this until stiff glossy peaks form, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's there. Okay, we're now at stiff peaks. See when you stick your whisk in, see those stiff peaks sticking straight out on the side and they're not moving? That's how you know they're stiff peaks. And also how you know they're stiff peaks is you can do this and see, nothing falls out. See, now you've got stiff peaks. Now you want to set this to the side and we'll get started on the next step. Now you want to whisk together your dry ingredients in a separate bowl. In this bowl, we have 1 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour. We have 1 cup of granulated sugar. We have 1/4 cup of cornstarch, which will add stability and lighten up the flour and make it more like cake flour. So we have 1/4 cup of cornstarch. We have 2½ teaspoons of baking powder, not baking soda, baking powder, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now we are going to whisk all that together, and I know a lot of those ingredients can be pretty lumpy. That's why you want to mix the sugar in with this instead of your wet. That way it breaks up all the lumps and all of the lumpy ingredients. That sugar will work as an abrasive to break up any lumps and will make it sift together really nicely. So if you don't have cake flour for a recipe, you can make your own very easily. Just take, for every cup of flour, you want to measure out 1 cup of all-purpose flour, take out 2 tablespoons of the flour and replace it with 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. And then whisk it together or sift it together about 3 times until it's nice and whisked together, or nice and sifted together. Now, as you can see, it's all nice and fine and loose. So now we're all moving on to the next step. Now for our next steps, I am personally going to use a KitchenAid stand mixer. If you don't have one, or you don't have a stand mixer, you can use a hand mixer for this. This is just going to make my life a little easier. That's why I'm choosing to use it. To the bowl of our mixer, we are going to add our 7 egg yolks that are at room temperature. Weren't those gorgeous? Our girls laid the prettiest eggs. But maybe I'm a little partial. I know normally I tell you whose eggs those are. That's way too many eggs for me to sit here and list everybody that laid those eggs. Just know our girls are helping with the cake today. And to this, we are going to add 1/2 cup of a neutral flavored oil, which it can be vegetable oil, canola oil, anything, avocado oil, anything like that. We are going to add 1/2 cup. I know this sounds strange to do it in this manner, but trust me, it's going to work. This is going to work, I promise you. Now to this, we are going to add our extracts. And this is all up to you. You can make this any flavor you want at this point. You can make it good vanilla, you can make it orange, you can make it lemon, you can make it coconut by your extract. Whatever extract you want to add it in at this point. And what I'm doing, I'm adding 2 teaspoons of vanilla. You guys know I don't measure vanilla. So it's 2 roughly measured teaspoons of vanilla. And I am also this is not going to add a lot of flavor. This is just going to be a little something something. I am adding 1/2 teaspoon of almond extract. It's just going to add a little something something. If you do not like almond extract, I know some people do not. If you do not like almond extract, you can just add another little splash of vanilla. Now we have our whisk attachment on our mixer. It's going to do better with a whisk attachment. Now we are going to beat this until it becomes light in color and starts to become a little thicker. If you are using fresh backyard eggs, you are going to notice it getting a little paler in color, as you can see in the bowl. It's a little paler in color, but it doesn't get fully as pale in color as it will if you're using store-bought eggs. Okay, it's thickened up a little bit. It's a little lighter in color. Now it's not going to get really light in color with these rich egg yolks. Now we are going to add our dry ingredients that we mixed together, and we are going to alternate that with I know this is going to sound strange, but we are going to alternate it with 3/4 of a cup of room temperature water. Yes, I'm using water, not milk. Water will make for a much lighter crumb and a much spongier texture with this cake. So you want to use water instead of milk. So we are going to add 1/3 of our flour mixture. And at this point, if you are using a stand mixer, you will want to switch to your paddle attachment, or if you are using a hand mixer, you want to switch to your beaters. Now you want to mix this in. When that's all mixed in, when all your flour mixture is mixed in, now you want to add half your water. And you want to mix until that's all mixed in. It's going to look a little weird at this point. Don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. Now you want to add the next 1/3 of your flour mixture. Can't say just flour because it's not just flour. So now you want to add the next 1/3. Now you want to add the last half of your water. You want to mix that until it mixes in thoroughly. And now you want to add the last of your flour mixture. The last 1/3. And at this point, if you are using a stand mixer or even a hand mixer, you want to scrape this down. You want to make sure all the flour mixture, you want to make sure everything is already in there. You don't want any lumps of anything, so you want to scrape down at the bottom. Make sure you've got a nice batter. You don't want to miss out on any of it. So you want to make sure that you mix that in very thoroughly. Now, you want to mix this on about medium speed for anywhere from 2 to 4 minutes, just until it gets nice and incorporated and becomes nice and fluffy and nice and smooth. Not really fluffy, nice and smooth. Now it's been beat for like 3 minutes, and see, it's become very thick. And when you do this, see, it comes down in like ribbons. That's how you know when it's ready. And it can be anywhere from 2 to 4 minutes. But see, it's nice and thick, and it's just beautiful. Now remember those egg whites that we beat to stiff peaks that we set aside? Now we're going to start folding those in. You want to do 1/3 of them at first. This is your sacrificial 1/3. I always call the first 1/3 that you put in of anything when you have to fold it in like this, I always call it my sacrificial 1/3. Because the reason it's kind of sacrificial is because you are folding it in to make the two things come together. You are making them more of the same texture. That way it can accept the rest of the egg whites and make everything light and fluffy without deflating them. This first 1/3 is kind of sacrificial because it's going to deflate some. And that's actually kind of the purpose of it. So, for those of you who may not know, to fold, you push down the middle and up and over. Turn your bowl. Up and over. Down the middle, up and over. Turn down the middle, up and over. Until you have one mixture that you don't see any more streaks of your white, of your egg white mixture. And see, that 1/3 lightened up this batter significantly. It's a little more ready to be compatible with the rest of the egg whites. Now we are going to fold in another 1/3 of our egg whites. And you will watch it get lighter and lighter as you do this. Just be very gentle. You don't want to be too harsh with it because you want to keep that air. This, just like angel food cake, which I've shown you how to make angel food cake. I've shown you a chocolate one and a regular one. Air is your friend with this, just like angel food cake. Which, by the way, you can make a chocolate chiffon cake, which is amazing. If you guys want me to make a chocolate chiffon cake, I can definitely do that. because we have a lot of eggs and the girls are just picking up speed with their laying. So we'll have a lot of eggs for a while. So chocolate chiffon cake, if you guys want to see it, it's definitely something I could do. Now we're going to add our final third of our egg whites. And by the time you get this final third in, folded in, you are going to notice that it's going to be much, much lighter. Your batter is going to be much lighter, much fluffier. It's just going to be beautiful. Now look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? That is the most gorgeous batter. And now I also need to tell you, in your oven, you need to have your oven rack placed at about the second rack, about the second level from the bottom. Now we've got our tube pan here, or our angel food cake pan in my case, which we have not sprayed. You do not want to spray this. You actually want it to stick to your pan because you want it to climb the sides of the pan. So you want it to be able to stick. Now we are going to pour our batter evenly, as even as possible, around our pan. Now you want to make sure you clean up any drips around the sides or around the tube because you don't want those to burn. Now you want to give it a little shake. Now you want to give it just a little shimmy shake. Now we are going to pop this into a 325-degree preheated oven. Do not open the oven door for the first 45 minutes. After the first 45 minutes, you can start checking it, and you want to touch the top of it. You can test it with a toothpick, and if it comes out clean, then it's done. But the best way to tell is you want to touch the top, and if it springs back and don't leave indentation, then it's ready. Now I'll warn you, it's got to bake for a little bit, so be patient. It's been 45 minutes, so now you can actually open the oven door and see, you can touch it and see it still leaves an indentation and it's still jiggly. It's not springing back and it's not fluffy yet, so it's not quite ready. And as you can see, it is rose up to the top. See, I'll shut the oven door back. As you can see, it is rose up to the top. It may deflate a little bit as it bakes some, so don't worry about it overflowing. And as you can see, we still have a little bit more time left on it. Probably about 15 more minutes, but we'll see. I'll let you know how long it takes and show you what it looks like when it's done. It has been probably about 57 minutes. And as you can see, it's nice and brown. It's deflated just a tiny bit, but not much, because we did manage to get a lot of air into it. So now I'm going to touch it and see it's springing back. It's springing back. And I want you to listen really closely, and hopefully you can hear this. Because when you touch it, you'll hear a little psst, psst. Hopefully you heard that. Because it's almost like a little crackle. Now, as you can see, it's springing back beautifully. It's ready to come out of the oven. And as you can see, this beauty is done. It's absolutely gorgeous. There are two ways that you can cool this. You can either cool it on cans, on the rims of cans, or you can cool it on a cooling rack. But either way, just like an angel food cake, you want to cool this inverted. So you want to cool it upside down. And as you can see, now that it's out of the oven, it's starting to deflate some. So you can do it on cans or on a cooling rack. I'm going to use a cooling rack, so I'm going to turn it like this and flip it. And as you can see, it's not going to sit exactly straight or even on there because of the tube. But you want to cool it upside down. And you want to cool it completely in your pan. You do not want to take this out of the pan before it is completely cool. It will fall apart on you. So you do not want to do this until it is completely and totally room temperature, completely cool. Then I'll show you how to take it out of the pan. I was so busy telling you how to cool this that I forgot to tell you how long that it bakes. This baked for between 50 and 60 minutes. Oddly specific, mine baked for 57 minutes. But it's going to bake anywhere between that. It depends on your pan, the type of pan you use, whether it's a dark pan or a light pan. It depends on your oven. So it'll be anywhere between 50 and 60 minutes. Okay, now this beauty is all cool. It's at room temperature. Now we're ready to unmold it. Now you want to take a thin knife and run it down around the edges. You want to make sure it's a thin knife and not a thick one, because you don't want to cut into your cake. You just want to release it from the edges of your pan. You want to take it all the way around the edges to release it, because it's nice and stuck to your pan. And that's honestly what you want it to do. Just like with an angel food cake, you actually want it to stick. Now you want to take your knife and you want to go around the middle as well. Now you want to raise it up and you want to run it, if you have an angel food cake pan, you want to run it around the lip as well to release it. If you just have a tube pan, then you don't have to worry about that. Now we are going to grab the middle and see if we can pull this out. Woohoo! Yes, it came out perfect. Look at that. Look how gorgeous that crumb is on there. Ah, I'm so excited. Now you want to unmold it from the bottom. You want to take your knife, you want to slide it in at the bottom, and you want to just run it right along the edge. You want to let it slide right along the bottom of your pan if you're using an angel food cake pan with the removable bottom. And as you can see, it worked perfect with the removable bottom. It actually helps you to get a very clean cake. As you can see, I get very excited about these things when they come out like they're supposed to. Okay, now you ready for the moment of truth? Let's see if we can pull this up. Let's see if we can pull this up. There we go. Look at that. Look at that bad boy. Look at that. I am so excited right now. Look at how tall that is. You know you did something right with the chiffon cake when it gets that tall and stays that tall and don't deflate on you. You know you did something right. And it smells heavenly. And look at how gorgeous and golden brown it is. I can't wait for Jason to try it and tell you guys just how good it is, because literally the possibilities are endless on how you can eat this cake. You can eat it with berries and whipped cream on top. You can eat it any way you want, with chocolate sauce on top, with anything you want. Or you can just eat a big piece of it by itself, which is probably what we're going to do. We're probably going to eat it by itself. But I can't wait for Jason to taste this and show you just how good it is, because it smells insanely good in here.
All right, y'all, now I get to taste this amazing looking cake. It's quite impressive. I can't comprehend what it's going to taste like, but I know I'm stinking excited about it. It's so good. Like, it's a cross between a pound cake and a angel food cake. Like, it's both of them. And it's amazing. It's light and flavorful. I mean, like, you could eat it out of hand just like it is. You could add ice cream to it. You could add berries to it and whipped cream or whatever you want to do. It's super versatile and it's really light. It's stinking wonderful is what it is. That's awesome. Really impressive. And that is amazing. What a moist, delicious, light, flavorful. Think of a good word to describe cake. That's it. Well, except rich. It's not rich. Okay, so but either way, it's such an amazing cake. Really impressive. Great use of eggs. So thank you guys so much for watching. We do appreciate it. My name is Jason. That's Smart One. Her name's Angela Kay. It's Art of Creation Homestead. We love y'all. God bless you and goodbye.